Welcome to The Why. In our podcast, The Why, we're going to cover topics that are important to SAP customers and to our team. We want you to share this information internally. We want you to share this information outside of SAP Ariba. And we want you to be able to connect with other thought leaders in our business. In this edition of The Why, we're going to be talking about new innovations for suppliers and for buyers. The Ariba network helps companies buy, sell, improve their working capital, manage risk, and drive purpose-driven programs. Almost a procure for purpose type of process. Today we're going to talk about how companies sell more with SAP Ariba. Joining me today are two of our general managers, David Landsman for Ariba Discovery and Tony Alvarez for Ariba Spot Buy. David and Tony, thanks for joining me today.
Thanks, John.
Thanks, John.
Hey, David, let's start with Ariba Discovery. For those that aren't familiar with Ariba Discovery, can you give us an overview of how sellers grow their business with Ariba Discovery?
Yeah, thanks. Ariba Discovery is a very simple solution that helps sellers on the network grow their businesses, and their growth primarily comes in two forms. Ariba Discovery connects sellers on the network to new business opportunities all over the world. Last year, buyers from over 80 countries posted requirements for new suppliers through Discovery. And what better time for a supplier to connect with a potential new customer than the exact moment that company is searching for a new supplier? The other way suppliers can connect with new customers is indirectly. One of our suppliers, M&R Distribution, bid on an RFX from a very well-known entertainment and hospitality company. They didn't win that particular bid, but the customer was impressed enough to put M&R into a supplier development program, and that's led to a huge and lucrative new customer for M&R. So there's definitely the opportunity of the now. A buyer needs to find a supplier at this moment, and Discovery helps in that way. And then there's the future state. Buyer will need a supplier of a particular type at some point down the road, and they get introduced to them right now.
That's a great little network effect that's going on. At Ariba Live this year in Las Vegas, I read and certainly met with Connexus, and we developed a new partnership right with them this year, and we had a few conversations with the press about that relationship. Can you talk about what that brings to the Ariba network and what it brings to both buyers and suppliers on the network?
Yeah, and I think this goes back to the message you were giving before about procuring for a purpose. Connexus Supplier Management helps simplify the complexities of global supply chains and helps buyers achieve their diversity supplier development and sourcing goals. For SAP Ariba customers, diversity supplier development is an ongoing challenge and priority. By connecting SAP Ariba Discovery to Connexus, we give our Global 2000 customers access to a deeper pool of diversity suppliers without forcing a process change. Our customers can put a posting on Ariba Discovery from Ariba Sourcing, and that posting will flow through to the Connexus community automatically. Any supplier responses to that RFP will flow back into Ariba Sourcing, and the customer never has to leave the Ariba Solution Suite to take advantage of this great new source of suppliers. For Connexus, we're helping their customers get access to new business opportunities that would be very challenging to get access to without our partnership. It's a true win-win for everyone involved, and we're thrilled to have Connexus as a partner. They've been amazing to work with.
That's fantastic. It's certainly one thing to try to help save companies money. It's something completely different when you're driving some of these purpose-driven programs like that they might have. That's fantastic. Tony, let's switch over and talk a little bit about Spot Buy. So Spot Buy started as a solution to help customers manage tail spend. But I think during the first year or two in market, we've learned a lot about what Spot Buy can do for buyers and sellers. What have you found out in the last 12 months?
Yeah, I think from a learning standpoint, the first go at Spot Buy was getting as much content out there as possible. We quickly learned, especially from the buy side, that it wasn't just about content, it was about vetted content. And it was also about controls. So in our first year, we ended up pulling back a lot of the content that we had, made sure that those sellers and those those items went through a vetting process. And then same thing with the controls. The product team added a ton of controls that would enable the procurement team to, basically filter. It's kind of like the parental screening on an iPad, filter their end users, what they see, how they see it, what type of limitations that they have in terms of spend limits, categories they see, etc. And it really has hit a sweet spot in the market.
Sellers must love Spot Buy as a new e-commerce channel. What's been their reaction to it so far?
It's been really positive. I think once sellers realize that this is certainly an offensive move for them, this allows them to go after spend that they would have otherwise not been able to see, and they truly are one-off Spot Buy. So they're getting their content in front of buyers that they either did not have a relationship with, or it's complementary to their existing contract relationships with buyers. So it's very much an offensive play. It's also a play for them to elevate that spend. So say they go into a new buyer situation, they're able to monitor those sales on Spot Buy and elevate that spend into a contract situation. And then lastly, it's a defensive move for them as well, because they're able to stave off some of the flow that currently goes to B2C marketplaces and keep that within the confines of the procurement system.
So we must give a lot of controls then to the suppliers and to the sellers as a part of the solution.
That was a very important tenet that we're building Spot Buy, the platform upon, is that it is equal for both buyers and sellers. Buyers have the ability to turn on and off suppliers and control the content. It's the same thing for the sellers as well. They have the ability to turn on and off buyers and control what content that they share.
That's amazing. That's really fantastic. On the buy side, let me just ask you one other question. As I said at the beginning, it started as a sort of a tailspin area. Are you seeing our customers leverage Spot Buy not just for tailspin or ad hoc things, but for all kinds of categories?
Absolutely. So as you mentioned early on, we've been adding in the controls and the vetted content. We've seen that content move up the food chain, so to speak, where our buyers are becoming more comfortable to allow Spot Buy to either be the first content as they come on board. So you turn on the Ariba solution, you have vetted content ready to go, and they're able to use that right away with minimal effort. And then also too, they're finding out that this content is very price competitive, if not even better than a lot of the contracts they set up. And it's less expensive for them to manage. They're not having to manage, a lot of one-off catalogs with their vendors or go through sourcing events. So absolutely, that spend is, moving up the food chain within the procurement organization.
Great. Seems like we've really moved now into being more of a marketplace type model with some of the things that we're doing with discovery, right? Looking, buying, finding potentially new sources of supply. With Spot Buy, having the content ready, perhaps even gone out and done some sourcing right around some of that content, or you called it vetted, right? Making sure you've got quality supply for our customers to take a look at. David, let's go back to you. Where do you see sort of B2B marketplaces going in the next couple of years? And do you see sort of our pairing of Discovery and Spot Buy as being a real competitive differentiator?
I think that pairing Discovery and Spot Buy definitely is a competitive differentiator. They really are two sides of the same coin. Our buying community either needs to shop or get quotes. Those are the two activities that most buyers do. And shopping through Spot Buy is easy. Getting quotes through Discovery is easy. And that's where I think the entire B2B e-commerce ecosystem is moving. Simplicity is the formula that's going to win for our customers, and each day we get better and better at helping them make their procurement process simpler and more awesome.
Tony, how about you? You've certainly looked at other marketplaces around the globe, and certainly as part of Spot Buy, we've partnered with a few. What are you seeing out there with the trends in B2B marketplaces?
Yeah, I think the lines are absolutely blurring between B2B marketplaces and B2C marketplaces. And, really the end user is the one that's really pushing that. They've become very accustomed to their home experience, and they're bringing that into the workplace. And obviously, there's a lot of risk that they bring into the picture when they do that, because they're doing it outside the controls of procurement. And then likewise, there's very obvious reasons that the B2B sellers, don't like that activity as well. So we want to bring that into that marketplace concept into our, procurement solutions, into the procurement process. And, we're catching up, we're playing catch up in terms of the end user type tools and experience. Like, they need to have just as a robust, search experience, browsing experience, et cetera, that they do at home. And, that's exactly what we're investing in.
David and Tony, thank you for the dialogue today. I think there were some great takeaways for us to think about as far as how we can help, as you said, David, make the process awesome. For our team, please share this podcast with others across SAP Ariba. Feel free to share the podcast, The Why, as well with our customers. This helps make procurement awesome, and as we learned today, SAP Ariba certainly helps make selling awesome. Thank you very much for listening to The Why.